Nigerian hoods. So we're going to be reading out this book today. Social Problem, Down to Earth Problems. It's by James M. Hess. And so we're going to use this as a way to look into the hoods and see what we can find and try to dig up some solutions. I'm going to be reading from page 159. Okay? Why our hood tick, why we rock the way we do, and we'll be looking at it from that angle. Now, I'll read social policies, global concerns preventing violence. And I'm going to read this so we can look at, well, this is exactly the opposite in the hoods. Let me read first from geographical patterns. More violent things run through, they say, in southern states. Their music, their literature, even their jokes. Apparently Southerners are more likely to own guns, to know how to shoot them, use guns during quarrels. Sociologists find these explanations suggestive, but not totally satisfactory. So we got, in the South, generally speaking, violent jokes, literature, even in the cowboy days, you didn't need literature then. So you have, in the Wild West, a lot of images of violence. Now I'm going to go over to Global Concerns, page 159. That was Geographical Patterns from page 158. We're going to be looking at, he says, may I suggest 4 social policies that prevent violence? First, researchers have to document that rapists hire societies in which women are devalued. So what is the principle here? Devaluing the human being. So if you find in any society people being devalued, you're going to have more crime, you're going to have more assault, more murders, more rapes. In this case, rapes. The finding has profound implications for social policy. We can reduce rape by increasing the social value of females. To do this, we need programs that cause males to value females more highly, whether those programs are in church, school, family, or even on television. So, what happened in Detroit to their black middle class? When General Motors left, drugs, heroin. There was one dealer who was a Jew. There was dealers from Italy, the French Connection. All these things and these nations and these people, heroin grown in Afghanistan, supplied most of the world's heroin, but it also was grown in Mexico and many other places. So it invaded the hoods just like crack did, cocaine, in the 80s. But in the 70s, heroin invaded. We see the results in Seattle. Everyone's shocked. Oh, look at all these people out on these streets. Well, you checked out Detroit, it looked like that back in the 70s when they were losing everything. How were they losing everything? Their whole community was going, because of the drugs, devaluing your brother that you're going to destroy with some poison and letting another tribe do it. While they prosper and live in palaces, we destroyed our own families because of devaluation. Mix that with violent music and the glorification to sell the drugs and the flossing of the things that drug money bought. You wonder why we have violence in our culture? The Nigerian Chief back when the Portuguese invaded Africa, and many other chiefs, they devalued their either own citizens for a crime they might have done, so their status dropped in that tribe, or they just wanted to make money off of the next tribe. So they helped. They didn't value their other tribal members. And not many of the raids that happened did not have to happen because the chiefs would send the warriors out to bring the slaves to them, where they landed their ships and etc. in their little colonies. Okay, so let's look at this. Whatever increases men's evaluation of females will tend to reduce rape. See? And if that deals with culture, again, you're dealing with babies out at wedlock. Again, through the music. And remember, Satan was the master of music. That's what the Bible says in heaven. It is the lyrics. It's not earth, wind, and fire anymore. So the glorification of those things tend to bring no wedding. You're not a prince and they're not a princess. They're devalued down to a piece of meat or pleasure mechanism. And how we can correct that? Well, go tell the rappers to rearrange their lyrics. That'd be a start. And this whole devalued thing of human beings that made the hoods animal-like. Don't you think societies know this? So why do we bite the bait and the cheese? The ignorance that's on, these judges program to some talk show, to some laughable poor people being exploited, devalued on your television sets, gossip, housewives, and because if you're not here, you're devalued in our society. Our society has reduced itself, and we wonder why we don't we won't even get electric lights for somebody on a hot day. Unnatural affection. Okay? And what is unnatural affection? Unnatural affection is when you care more about the pet than you do the human. That's how you know you're there. Yeah, the pet represents the principle of unconditional. Nevertheless, the human was made in God's image, not the pet. So, we're still offered today these pagan things. Balaam tried to sell the children of Israel out for power and wealth. You will be offered a large amount of money to act a fool or to do entertainment or to, as long as you keep the masses going, and especially if you can promote ignorance, you get billions, millions of millions of dollars. Stuff that has nothing to do with collective tribal people getting together and establishing themselves. That's why Africa is not established, but divided. And while we are divided as African Americans in the United States, while other tribes collectively come together, enjoy the entertainment, but seriously, when it's time to do business, they do it for the tribe. How do you know that? Belgium invaded Congo, took the diamonds, whatever they took, right? Killed 10 million people, and left. But if you go into in that part of the world, over there, Sweden, Switzerland, Netherlands, part of that, they did share their wealth with their people to a great degree. That's why their crime is so low. They must value their people. I know people that live in Sweden that went, got their cosmetic, dental work, and everything they needed done. The rich don't mind paying. And because they're valued, each citizen, they shared the profits. I'm not saying the bankers did, but I'm saying the country broke bread with their own tribe from what they took from another tribe. And you also have to look at this in the light of, do we do collective things for them? That was an investment in the Congo. Do we do collective things for our tribe, for the well-being of the whole? Do we? Or is it just for individualistic? Look what I have accomplished. God's plan is higher. So Balaam, who wanted to curse Israel in the Bible because he loved power. So you'll be offered power, fame, status, privilege, and opportunity. If you are willing, like that chief in Nigeria, to sell the people out for foolishness, seeing they already are in deep trouble, especially economically. The next generation has a lot to face in the hoods. Not only did Balaam went after power, sell your people out, sell them out to the Italians for the cocaine in Detroit, for the heroin, sell them out to South America for the cocaine. No matter what it is, that kind of operation of character has to already have devalued their people. But listen, many of the devaluation systems were pushed down on black people by the whites that live in America and in Africa. Now, no excuse, you see what I'm saying, but the cause and effect of poverty being one of the things that reduces, unless you come up with solutions, the value of life. And you mix that with music, with violent things and things that devalue the women, and you do have a culture that's subject to do more violence. And Pinky Ring boys already know that. Now, it says, second point, researchers have documented that rape is higher when the perceived cost of raping is low. So, what's the price in doing a drive-by on a Big Ego swole? Status, what has status imparted as far as treating people as human beings? We can't even say hi to the human being. So we see all these unnatural affection things that's woven in here. People do crime when they don't value. They rob you, they kill you, rape women, not respect their elders, their father, and marry the woman, have the baby. So what? So our next generation right now, we're looking at millennials are in trouble of the goods, is what I'm saying. You have the poverty, devaluing of life, devaluing of women. And then the cost of getting caught. They let a bunch of people out of Chicago for murder charges, and murders just skyrocket. So if you can get them to think that the cost is low, and you're trying to genocide people, they're going to kill everything. better policies. Bakers should report research on how culture creates a climate of violence. Well, we just went over that. Music, poverty first, and oppression is the big giant, stands over everybody. And this is why it's important for the salt of the earth, whoever they be, light, people that love the light, that love truth, and especially spirit-filled believers with the Spirit of God. Unconditional is why it's so important. An unconditional approach with the love of God. When you help somebody that's free, never charge. Stay free from relationships and tangles and things like that as far as money goes. But more importantly, use money as a tool to show unconditional love, and it will increase the value of the person. It may save their life. It may keep them out of the penitentiary. So that's all you got, churches, African American churches. That's all you got. Unconditional demonstration of the love of God. You start with your relatives, and you can use substance, food, money. Deuteronomy 14, Deuteronomy 15. They open their hand wide to their brothers, helping each other with debts. Deuteronomy 26. Those were tithes and thanksgiving. Leviticus 25. Not making merchandise out of each other. Leviticus 25, 36. No usury for greediness for gain off our brother. But we're using, just like those Belgians, whatever we're doing in the system of capitalism, we're bringing it to the tribe. And we're creating the jobs where the poverty and where there's lack. R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle, because that's what he did. As an example, from the gutter, from the car. If he can do it, how much more can our Oprah Winfrey's and our people that have money to create, real estate endeavors for our elderly and bucking inflation and prepare over the next 10 years, because poverty is going to tear a hole in the hood, you better believe it. We can examine less violent cultures to determine what factors minimize violence. We see they're calling socialism in the Netherlands, again, the Belgians, and again, the people over there begin to spread wealth around that they had. So we just make sure the necessities of housing, healthcare, and things like that were met. So we're not going to do it. We're a capitalist society, and this is a democratic republic, they call it. So the bottom line, this is where collective groups, you can demonstrate. I've heard of churches paying health bills and care bills. Just random community, billions. So people are doing stuff like that. So to address our local brother health care, like the Netherlands does, like they do in these societies that make more money. And Paul argued in 2 Corinthians 8 and 9 that the excess, just like the manna fail, everyone had what they needed. You got 5 kids, you get 5 quail. You got 2 kids, you get 2. You don't need 5 to sell to the rest. The bottom line, equal care, same value. That system, which when we have that, obviously they have a little bit of that dealing with their health care, because it's the same health care that the big shots get, the people get. Cosmetic dentistry, stuff like that. Crime law. Why go out and hit somebody in the head and you're making it? Not saying that way is better, but it's more towards 2 Corinthians 8, 9 when they're sharing Joshua 1. Determine how to help Americans, especially young, channel their aggression constructively. Gotta have opportunity to do that. Okay? And you are doing this in the face of the music. So rappers can help. Yeah. Start lifting up the sisters. Stop glorifying drugs, property, and flossing of your less fortunate brothers, and gun and violent cultures. And 4, to the degree that individual violence is based on economic inequality. We got a problem right there, but there is the Nipsey Hussle idea and many others. Rappers that created jobs, and then they appeal to business owners. It's going to take the tribe to do something. We're all comfortable in the suburbs, but we'll be burying our relatives and our nieces and our nephews and our grandkids if we don't create. And you can't move them all out to the suburbs because the hood will come get them. They're attracted to it. It's the glorification of these things. Develop programs to provide more opportunities for the disadvantaged. Well, we can look at Chicago and what do you have? Who's going to do that? What church is leading in that? Job creation. Who's on the cut? Where is it in our sermons? You can't just say put it in the bucket and the hood going to be fixed. That didn't work. That did not work. Many elder our people did that and they still in the hood, renting. So, and in poverty and in impoverished schools. We create schools and make it free. You Christians out there. The fourth suggestion takes us to the center of the controversial matter of gun control. Most murder victims die from gunshot wounds. Now here we have the black market. They consider gun ownership an anachronistic custom that has no redeeming social value. On the other side, those who argue that Americans need more guns, they argue that if all law-abiding citizens had guns, few rapists and killers would break into our homes and even fewer would survive. Here's the point. In the midst of poverty, in the midst of lack of jobs, in the midst of violent culture through music, entertainment, and ignorance through entertainment, buffoonery, and things that doesn't move the people forward, in the midst of not critiquing how a bomb is made, and even looking at it, what the climates are. Of course, if you add drugs to this, you really are going to get, which no one, not the Vice President or Obama, said anything about the drugs, but they sent the feds into Chicago, LA, Washington to clean up the mass shootings, and I'm pretty sure those families are getting that. People that have guns in those hoods can't walk to the store. I'm pretty sure a lot of people going to jail. But again, the drugs is the first sign of devalue. So if you want to really help the black communities, you would definitely either build something to stop the drugs from flowing, which was a good idea as far as drugs go. Has nothing to do with immigration. God bless the poor, let them come. But the drugs have destroyed our black hoods. And if we won't acknowledge it, African American so-called tokenism leaders, and do something about it when opportunity is, when they showed all the fentanyl, all of the drugs that were seized at the border, the Vice President went to Mexico City about Guatemala, about what? The immigrants. Drugs never came home. So drugs is the first people out. The one that sells the people out and the one that transfers it. And our communities are destroyed while others are living in palaces of different tribes. Again, the Belgians raided Africa, took the root spoils and shared with their tribe. We're the only tribe that don't share with the tribe. It starts in the church. May I suggest Deuteronomy 14:15, Deuteronomy 26, Malachi 3:10 and 11, 2 Corinthians 8 and 9 are good scriptures that God encourages us to help those among us, the widows, the father, the stranger, and them that have no help. Creating jobs, let it be from our pulpits, and job creators and critical thinkers to make what we have be a better place for our children. And if not, you can look at the next 10 years, and some will go 20. We're going to see a rapid increase of a dinosaur of individuals with no assets. A whole tribe left off like a dinosaur, and the children sold into slavery, those that do not respect the authority. And for those that do, the numbers are low. Because of the culture, they're subject to get caught in the mix, like a college kid walking to the store and getting his plane from that. A church boy down the street from my house in South Central LA, they killed him under the car coming from church. I'll give y'all the last word, Jeremiah 23:8.